Hey, next up, we have Gary Sorrentino. Gary's the global CIO of Zoom. Gary, welcome to today's digital summit. So good to see you, my friend. We're going to talk about how total digital experience is shaping your digital transformation roadmap to meet future business needs and more. I mean, Gary, we sent everyone home 31 months ago. Now everyone's coming back, and it's a different world, right?
I would agree with that. And thanks for having me, Hunter. I think we have to look at it this way. The employees we sent home, ourselves included, are not the employees that are coming back. They're so much more empowered. Think about it. Think about over 2 years, what they figured out. They figured out how they want to work, when they want to work, and where they want to work. And they've put together a model that makes them successful.
And success is different today than just 30 months ago. I thought Nicole framed out brilliantly around leading with empathy and listening and inspiring and being that world-class communicator. I mean, it's almost a whole new lexicon. It's not almost, a whole new lexicon has evolved, right, Gary?
Well, I think leaders today, they have to understand the challenges that everybody went through during the pandemic. They have to have empathy for them. They have to understand they're returning from 31 months of childcare, 31 months of elder care, 31 months of being able to work on things during the day other than just their job, and also how to be productive. And so we've rearranged our life. This wasn't a 2-week exercise like everybody thought. In 31 months, you change the way you work, the way you think, the way you want to work. And that's why we're hearing about the Great Resignation or the Great Equalizer or quiet quitting, different things like that. They have established themselves as a different force. I think businesses before the pandemic, we built it. You come to the office, you work. That's it. That's the way our parents work. That's the way their parents work. And the pandemic gave us a chance to challenge the norm, increase productivity, and actually think about ourselves in the mix. We're not a clone. We're not everybody who gets off. I worked on Wall Street, they'll walk in the building, they all look the same. Now you walk into Wall Street, they all look differently. They think differently, right? And their demands, and I said the word demand on purpose, their demand of what they want from that place that they work is much different than it was 30 months ago. And they're willing to walk away from it if doesn't meet what they need.
You know, Gary, we talked briefly recently about the mission of Zoom, and it's really kind of fascinating. It's a set of solutions to help improve productivity, enhance connectivity. And in this new world that's evolving, truly going to be a hybrid world, a mobile hybrid world. How do you see Zoom helping people stay connected and increasing productivity on that total experience?
So when we used to talk prior to the pandemic, and even during the beginning of the pandemic, Zoom was this killer meeting app. But along the way, Zoom became a platform. And here's why. People demanded more. They needed a way to collaborate. They needed a way to ideate. They needed a way to substitute the in-office experience, those serendipitous moments. So what Zoom has done along the way is created a platform, and I think you said it the correct way, to increase productivity, to increase collaboration. There will always be a hybrid meeting going forward. I can't imagine a meeting where 100% of the people are physically in place. Now, we had this before. I'm sure you've done it yourself. I might have been on the 27th floor of one of those big buildings, and if the meeting was on the 29th floor, I might have still done it from my office. So now I'm not in the conference room. Regardless of where I am, they used to call me remote. Now we call it hybrid. But the difference is, before, I made myself a second-class citizen. I said I might not have the same immersive experience as everyone in the room. Today, I want to be able to work in a hybrid fashion, and both sides of the conversation have to have parity. And that's where Zoom comes in. They put in features like Smart Gallery. They put in features like meeting analytics, Zoom IQ for sales. We put in whiteboarding. These are features that we put in and functions for people to be able to keep that parity and that equalization. It shouldn't matter physically where I am or where you are. We're having a great conversation right now, and we're probably states apart.
Right. So CEOs have a challenge here, right? How to rebuild culture in the sense of a culture and vision. And we know culture really matters.
Yeah, I have this little saying. I know we talked about it the other day. I think there are two ways people are coming back into the office, and part of it is about culture. Part of it is, well, I'll give you the end line first. It's about magnet and mandate. So let's talk about that. Magnet. CEOs who have looked at their organization and said, how do we reconfigure those places where they go so that when an employee wakes up in the morning, he says, today's a day of quiet thinking, 14 Zoom calls, 8 emails to answer. I'm better off right where I am. Tomorrow is an ideation session. I want to be collaborative. You know something? The resources at that building that I used to call work, because now it's just a space, but that building that I used to go to call work, I'm going there today because they have tools and they have places where I can collaborate different than I'm doing it from home. We call that a magnet. Building an environment where your employees get up in the morning and for today's type of work, and a bravo to the companies that are supporting the employee to be flexible in deciding, they come back into that space and it's a whole new space, completely redesigned from when it was before. Then we have the other side. Let's not change anything. Let's just send out an email, say you got to come to work 3 days a week, got to come physically into that building 3 days a week. And we get to interview people all the time. And I think today, CEOs have to think about the message that they're sending in each of those. It's very hard to talk about a culture of trust, understanding, when you're mandating people come back into an office for a certain number of days. It's very easy to talk about flexibility and supporting your employees in the way that they want to work. Big word, trusting them that they're going to do the right thing. Now, not every job can work remote or flexible. I got that, right? We have to be cognizant that there are frontline workers. I don't think we can build a car at home yet, but maybe someday. But right now, we have to look at every department and we think about what's best for those apartments, and one size does not fit all like before.
Right. So we talked about a different kind of office layout because people are looking for different things in that base office, right?
Well, they want to be able to come in and they want to say, okay, for today, what am I doing? Today, I'm collaborating. I need whiteboards. I need open space, right? I need people to relax. I need a coffee pot, right? Maybe a water cooler, right? But now I also, part of my day, I got to do some deep thinking. So are there places I can go where I can just open up my lap? Because maybe the whole day isn't about ideation. Remember, think about if you're building something. You know, a lot of that is we want to come together at the beginning when we really think about what we're trying to do and the challenges we're trying to solve. But then we go away and solve them separately. And so when I go into an office now, and Zoom's been very good about this, they trust their employees, they give us flexibility. But when I go into the Zoom offices now, I have the flexibility inside the office to do certain kinds of work over there and certain kinds of work over there. And the concept of my desk is gone. Now the concept is, where in this building can I do the most productive work for the type of work I have to do right now?
Right. So when you think about the future and as we evolve, that magnet concept's really, truly real.
Yes, but I think that, so we have this saying in technology: you never design for today. You always go where the puck is going. We've heard so many people. Gretzky said it. Certain people that you deal with, they've said always thinking about the future. And I think now is when CEOs really need to sit down with their teams and start figuring out, where is my company going to be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and what tools do I need to put in place, and how do I configure my company to give them the support that they need. And the support could be as easy as flexible time, asynchronous working. It could be, maybe I need to invest in meeting intelligence. Why are we taking notes in meetings? Why aren't we using things like transcription? We all work global now. And the word global, we could be global just here in the United States because there are different languages even in the United States. Why aren't we doing translation so that certain parties have an easier way of understanding the content that we're talking about? Why aren't we doing things why aren't we ideating on a digital whiteboard right now? And then when this meeting is over, that becomes an artifact that can live on. And then in 3 weeks, when this meets again, other people have worked on it. Let's bring that artifact back in. You know, what we used to do in the old days, you take a picture of it. right? But it's static. What if we could make it a living, breathing document and then move it out into a persistent world and bring it back for an ad hoc meeting?
So along
they
that
need to
line,
think about
Gary,
things like that.
yeah, further along that line, what's inspiring you now?
So for me, it's new every day. I think for me, I get the honor to work with companies all over the world and try to figure this out. And I really can work with CIOs all over the world, and I hear what works, I hear what doesn't work. The best part about my job is when I sit down with CIOs and we talk about the art of the possible. And the art of the possible is, how do we use tools and technology, and sometimes it's not even technology, how do we use things that are available today to move the employee experience forward, the customer experience forward, and how do we make that digital transformation? Let's not make it a line item in the boardroom, let's make it a reality. How do we transform the business at the same time? And this is hard, right? You're trying to improve your employee experience, and they want certain things. You're trying to improve your client experience, and the number one thing they want is they want to do business the way they want to do business, and you have to be very adaptable. And there's many modalities. But then, how do we transform the business in a positive way? And a positive way could be something as simple as, let's get rid of blue ink. Let's go to digital signatures online.
Right. Well, you've been at this a long time, and you know from your finance background that people do want to do business the way they want to do business, right?
Well, that's always been, but remember, technology was always about, we build it, you use it. And we said that to our employees. And in some cases, we said that to our customers, right? We kind of built it, but you see several of the large financial institutions, they've completely transformed the mortgage process, completely touchless. When you walk into a branch, now it's like, well, I need to talk to someone about a super mortgage, $1 million or more, right? Well, you got to come back next Tuesday. Well, no, that doesn't happen anymore. Now, on demand, we can sit you down in front of a terminal and you can talk to that mortgage specialist. The clients want what the clients want. The employees want what the employees want. And so even on Wall Street, they've had to figure out a way to adapt quickly. They were a little lethargic, I think, back then. And now it's about, how do we deliver flexibility so that we can accomplish that task, delivering a mortgage? We can do it the way we did before. Someone walks into a bank and then we do a handshake and we see a person. We can do it at home, and by starting out with browsing. We can do a combination, but it's whatever the user wants.
Great. I love it. It's that whole notion of dreaming big and reimagining, reinventing the future. It sounds like you and your practice, you're right in the wheelhouse, right? Exactly what every CIO and CISO needs to be working on right now.
Absolutely. I think, I listened to the young lady talking the last thing, and I was inspired by some of the things that were said. But I think that that's what we have to think about. I listened to also what the gentleman said about how the CISOs aren't actually getting into the boardrooms. And that was also, but I think a lot of that is changing. I think the CIOs, the CTOs, and the CISOs, we're responsible to change the world, right?
That's right.
Let's take that responsibility seriously, right? And let's work with our users to understand what they want. Let's not imagine what they want. Let's work. And I think one of the things everybody has to do today is, it's about listening. See, a lot of people interview people, but they don't listen. And today it's really about listening to what they want and then building it that way.
Great stuff. Into 23, our theme is going to be around dreaming big and leading and reimagining, reinventing. It sounds like that's a perfect fit for kind of the CIO and CTO and what you're doing with your clients at Zoom.
I think so. I think, like I said, the art of the possible is, I don't want to talk about today, it's gone, right? I don't want to talk about tomorrow. I want to talk about, what's your long range plan? How can we be involved? The other thing is, it's about, don't always think you need something new. It could be something as simple as, I just did a speech down in Florida a couple of months ago, and someone asked me a question and they said, does it always have to be about technology? And just a quick 1-minute story. I said, no. I said, I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, 11:30 at night, and one of those food delivery apps, they sent me a blast, 11:30 at night. Now, 11:30 at night, most of us would just ignore it. What could they possibly send me at 11:30 at night that would make me take out my phone and take action? You know what they sent me? Ice cream. 2 words, right? And when I opened it, it said 2 quarts of ice cream at your door by 12 o'clock. right? I had to call the gentleman and I said, how did you do this? And he said, I empowered my employees to come up with great ideas using what they have. And all they had was just a blast. He goes, you can't believe the amount of orders we got. So it's not always about finding something new. Sometimes it's just finding what you already have and using it in a different way.
Great stuff, Gary. Hey, great to see you. How can people follow up with you at Zoom?
Easy. I tell everybody it's Gary.Sorrentino@zoom.us. Please just send me a note.
Excellent. You have Zoomtopia coming up as well, right?
At Zoomtopia coming up on the 8th and 9th. That's big. It's a great 2-day event. I know 2 days is a big imposition on people's time. So I will tell you, Eric's keynote is the one not to miss. That beginning 1 hour with Eric's keynote is going to really show you what the future of Zoom is going to look like. Some of the things we're thinking about. Yeah, we got a couple of things up our sleeve that are going to be really cool coming out. So either contact me, watch Zoomtopia. We're always available here to help.
Yeah, either in person or online, right? So that's a good one.
It's going to be a hybrid. There's going to be many people in San Jose in person, and then a large audience virtual, but we're going to run it on Zoom events as a hybrid event.
Gary, thanks so much for your partnership and friendship over the years. And we really appreciate Zoom, what you guys have done through the pandemic and what you continue to do in innovating and dreaming the possibility of the future.
Great. Thanks, Hunter. See you later, Tom. Bye.